Survivor's ready. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
The queen stays queen.
You said Russell Feathers.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
I'm so calamity. We have ripe bananas all the time.
Dude, my prize isn't even $1 million. My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace.
You officially go down as the dumbest survivor ever.
Welcome to Not Game, All Personal. Hey, we are a Survivor podcast here to talk about all things Survivor, more specifically the premiere of Survivor 50. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. Tony, it feels good that we made it.
It feels so good. This is only the second season I've seen live, and it's been years since the last one. Returning season, sorry.
Yes.
Season with returners, sorry. I realized I should clarify that. And so, I don't know, man. It's so exciting just to see some of these people again and watching them interact and some of, the past beef coming out a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I'm super, super excited. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It was a fun 3-hour episode. I thought they did a really good job. It was a tough task because this is the most players they've ever had. So to give everyone enough screen time, which there are certainly some people that did not get a lot of screen time, which we'll get to. But for the most part, I think they did a great job kind of getting you up to date on, previous storylines that players have with each other, reintroducing characters that we, maybe haven't seen for a bit. So, yeah, I mean, I can't ask for more from a premiere, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I think, what was set up is very fun and interesting, and I'm definitely, intrigued, I think when the cast was first announced, I feel like we were both a little hesitant, just, there were some names here where we're I don't know, and, there still are, I'm not saying I'm a fan of every single person on this cast, but I'm excited because I think it's going to be a good season, and I think everyone who is there wants it to be a good season, and I think that's the most important part. They are there to give us, and I think with previous returners, I think Game Changers is probably the best example where it was that was an all returning season that just was not it. But I think it's because there were so many players that were just playing to win, which sounds weird, but they weren't there to entertain, they weren't there to make it interesting. And I love Winners at War at the very end when Tony's at Final Tribal. I'll never forget it because he's I tried to make that, this is the Super Bowl Survivor seasons. I tried to give you guys the best show possible, and I think that is key too. This is an entertainment show. So I'm excited because I think these players understand that balance.
Yeah, there's definitely a good chunk of it. I mean, some of them don't have that and not everybody will, but there's definitely the people where it's I don't know if I would have done that way for your game personally, but boy, was that entertaining, and I'm glad you did that. The thing that comes to mind is Mike telling Coach in front of everybody, Ozzy said you're a scumbag. Thoughts? And watching him deal with that. That was probably not good for his game. I don't think it's gonna hurt him a ton. That's not how I would have done it gameplay wise, but boy, was that fun to just watch him go into deep water, just oh gosh, what do I do? How do I handle? That's perfect. That's what we want.
Yeah, he is a fan of the show, and he knows what the audience wants. So
exactly.
Well, let's just get started then. I mean, do we want to just do the typical, take it tribe by tribe? Is there anything larger game-wise we need to discuss? I feel the twists and the fan voting, is there even anything there to...
It did stuff. They made decisions. I don't think that I would have a strong opinion either way. I will say the way that they earned their supplies was different. I think a little bit different and interesting. Where one person, they won the challenge, so they just got them, and then they had to decide if one of them was going to pay their vote basically to the other person to take it back. That was an interesting discussion, I think, between Q and Coach. But yeah, beyond that, there wasn't a ton overall to go through, I think.
No, and the way that I was talking about it with my wife who was watching with me, because she's a very casual watcher, right? Most seasons she'll tune in for a couple episodes, but I'm having to explain to her backstories on all these characters and whatnot. And I was explaining to her because she had questions about you guys got to decide how like the game goes, because that's how Jeff presented it, right? He's like, we
Mhm.
left the game design in the hands of the fans, you know. And I pretty much explained to her, I was like, they didn't do that, you know, like they have a direction they want this
Yeah.
to go, and Jeff is just keeps saying that over and over to like pretend like we have some say in what's going on, you know, because like realistically, I whether or not they get Rice on day one, the edit never even focuses on that anymore. So like that
No.
doesn't you wouldn't, I don't think you'd be able to tell from like a editing or like strategic standpoint. So it's like these things don't really matter. I think like one of the things we got to vote on was like tribe colors. I was like, is anyone
That was
that
really important to me.
like who is passionate about that? Who is like, I'm sick of this color,
Me.
like it's ruining the new era. So I don't know. I think like I don't mind them, like the vote is fine. I don't really care that much. But what really gets me is like Jeff really like trying to nail down like, hey, this was your decision. You designed the game. You're the one that voted for idols. Like, yeah, who's gonna vote for no idols? Like, what are you talking about? Like
Mhm.
I think I saw like 20% voted for no idols, which is actually a little higher than I thought would. But I don't know. I think the whole thing is just kind of like whatever, and you know, who's to say that like there's any legitimacy in these votes, anyways? You know, because I think what was the Rice like? I think it was like 52-48 or something. Like it was very close.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that's interesting is a bunch of them don't know if there's idols in the game. Like usually it's basically a guarantee. It's a foregone conclusion. There's going to be idols. There's going to be beware advantages. But that wasn't revealed. Who got the advantage that it like revealed like, oh, the fans picked dynamic, which means there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. Um, was that Camilla?
That was Savannah when she
Savannah.
went on the
Right, right, right.
what is it called? Was there a name for it this season?
Their journey thing?
Yeah. Was it just a journey? Oh, just a journey. Okay.
Did they do two of those?
They
Oh, the
did
first one was the sweat versus savvy
because
thing, basically. Okay.
yeah,
And
it was
Exile
a
Island is kind of there, even though they weren't really on Exile Island for very long. It felt like. But yeah, so just the idea that they're looking for idols but have no actual indication that they are there. They came in not knowing if there was rights. I think that piece is interesting, but I think they were gonna pick what they wanted to, and it's not surprising the decisions that people made. Like I think they probably knew the direction it was gonna go on those
right.
votes.
Yeah. Yeah, so all that said, like, I don't know. I think this is in some ways just another typical season, which is like fine. Like I don't need it to be like anything crazy. I will say I am very glad that we do have 8 people per tribe though.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think we have already seen the benefit of that. Where, and we've talked about this, I think when you have a 6-person tribe, the numbers are just like there's a correct way to play that. You get a
Mm-hmm.
majority of 4, right? Keep the other 2 like a little looped in here or there, but like there's a right way to do this. And I think already we've seen like with a tribe of 8, people are mixing it up a little bit more, and there's just
Mm-hmm.
extra layers now of alliances and allies. So I'm very happy because I feel like that's gonna do wonders for this season.
Do you think that's the nature of there being more people, or just the fact that they're all known quantities, like they know who each other are, or at least have heard of each other?
It's probably a little bit of both, but I think like
Mm-hmm.
for example, I'm gonna try to Kalo. Is that how you say it? The bluish tribe, the light
Yeah.
blue one. I think like that was a good example. Or wait, nope, that's not the one I was talking about. Vatu is what I was referring to. My
Okay.
bad.
Yeah.
Because like we originally saw an alliance of Colby, Stephanie, Kyle, and Genevieve, but then they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh wait, we kind of need a 5th to get majority, right? So it's like this 4-person alliance isn't enough. You know, whereas like a
Mm-hmm.
previous season, they might have just stopped there. And so now they're looping in other people or just like, you know, becoming more friendly with Q or Rizzo even warming up to him. You know what I mean? So like they're looking for these extra layers of people for, you know, maybe voting blocks, maybe, you know, a solidified alliance, but I think
Mm-hmm.
they're being forced to look beyond those 4.
Yeah, I suppose the more that the more people you need, the more risk is involved in that. So whenever it's just like you need a clean four and there's 6 of us, so you better lock in. Like you have to say yes to that four when you get that chance. But this, yeah, opens the opportunity for more flexibility. I like it. I'm a fan.
Yeah, and I think like because I would argue like I think D season that was probably the most like okay, they figured it out. Here's their 4-person alliance. They're right into the end, right? And I think Survivor's way of fixing that, because if you remember, like we didn't have a lot of tribe swaps in the new era first couple seasons, and so I think what started to happen is they added those on sort of later in the new era, because I think like Kyle and Camilla, they tried to set that up. They tried to set up a 4-person alliance in their season, but the tribe swap kind of screwed that. So like that was, in my opinion, Survivor's kind of fix of like, hey, I think people are like figuring this out too easily, and so let's like have a tribe swap. So I don't know. To me, that's just a different way to like solve that problem. So the season isn't going to be like that boring, but. I don't know. There's a lot of number talk that probably isn't as interesting or relevant to 50.
But I will just add, like that's the value of variation. When you do the same thing over and over, it's gonna become stale, and they're gonna understand the best way to break whatever that system is. So even just tribe swap, it feels like they're rediscovering how to break up the like strategies that become to like get ingrained in these players when they come in. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily, but because it's always fun to see like, oh, now a new thing after 6 seasons and seeing the people figure that out. But let's get into some of these tribes.
All right, which one do you want to start with? You want to start with where we've seen the most screen time, or should we end with like the tribal councils? What's going to be the most fun to talk about?
I think let's start with the tribal councils. Let's just get to.
Well, there was technically only one, so should we do that?
Yeah, but you said councils, so I clarified that. Yeah, let's start with Vatu.
All right, Vatu. Well, Vatu is not the one that went to tribal, if that's what you were.
I thought you meant. Oh, I misunderstood where we were going. Yep, let's go to Sela.
Okay, Sela. The one tribal council we got. I mean, what's there to say? I think.
Well, I have.
Is
I have a
it even
question
worth
for
talking
you.
about this tribal council?
is.
I don't think it is. I think
it is. Well, maybe not about the tribal council. I'm curious where you're at with putting Jenna in the top 50 now. Like, do you still stand by that thought? And it's fine if you do. I'm just curious if this affected your perception of that at all. I'll hang up and listen.
Here's what I'll say. Obviously affects it, but that's a dumb question, because if Sari would have went out number 1, I think we would have had to bump her down some notches. I think anyone going early would lower their ranking. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but I just want to reiterate, Jenna was the one that did.
Yes, Jenna was, because she was such a threat. People said, this girl's a threat. Okay, but in all seriousness...
Did anybody say that? No, I just need to know, did anybody say that? If you can find me a quote of somebody saying this girl's a threat, I'll give you all of it. You win.
Here's what I'll say. I think, in my opinion, and this is someone who, again, is a Jenna fan, mostly from recency bias of just watching All-Stars, rewatching All-Stars, I should say. I don't know. I don't think she did anything that wrong, if I'm being honest. And that might be a hot take.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this was mostly due to either pre-existing relationships, maybe pre-gaming, which is fine. No issue with that. I think, like, in my opinion, like the whole, Christian, Devins, Emily, like connection, that was all manufactured. That, like, they're all friends, that, like, they were never not going to be in an alliance together. Like, they exist outside of this game, and everyone knows that very publicly. Jenna Lewis does not, so like, I don't fault them for targeting her first. I think the reasoning for it isn't as accurate as if, like, she was the one that brought up Sari's name, so therefore, like, she's chaotic, because you look at other tribes, like, same thing was happening with D. Like, a lot of people were like, Jonathan was like, hey, let's go for D if we ever lose. They didn't lose, but, like, I don't think that's going to hurt him as all. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't think she did anything horribly wrong. I think it is just the nature of, like, that is a safe vote. I think Christian said it best, where where they were kind of debating, like, do we go for her? Do we go for Suri or Ozzy? He's like, well, if we go for one of them, like, that's gonna be hard to explain ourselves coming back to like after Tribal. If we get out Jenna, no one's gonna be bothered. So I don't blame them for going that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's more than fair. Like I think it was always going to be an uphill battle for her, just going on to like not being as connected into the Survivor community, from what I've seen at least, and then having to make this decision. And like, if you're gonna swing, I guess swing big for Suri, but Suri's a pretty tall order for somebody to like target because she's so strong relationally and people love her so much. And she doesn't win challenges. So like, you get deep with Suri, she's not somebody who like you're super worried about late. And so like there's you're nervous that she has like the social connections and she can like dig in there, but she hasn't done it yet, so it's hard to say. But yeah, it was a tough situation for sure. The edit was weird because it made it seem like it was, I don't know, I feel like they really tried to make it seem like it was likely that it was Suri or Ozzy, but it felt like it was always gonna be her. I don't know. It would have stunned me if one of those two went right away.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't really fall for it. Mostly because I feel like Suri just didn't get a ton of time in this episode, which I think might be good for like seeing that she might like last longer. Like to me,
Yeah.
the whole storyline was like Jenna just being aggressive, and then people starting to like turn on her in a way. So like I don't know, I wasn't really fooled by that, but I will say like again, rewatching All Stars, like it's not that much different from what she did in All Stars. Like she was one of the big proponents of like let's get the winners out first, because I think like if you think back to that season, you know there were some heavy hitters, but then there was also a lot of people like Amber was not a big name, you know, like going into All Stars, like so. What Jenna did, along with other people, obviously like Boss Rob and Amber, who she worked with, like that was their idea. Is like, hey, like we need to go for the heavy hitters because otherwise we're gonna get picked off. And so like let's do this. And so I think she kind of took that mentality into this season as well. And I wonder if she was on a tribe with another winner, because again, like I'm like if D is on her tribe, D's a much easier person to like, hey, let's go for her because we all know her win. But like the winner on her tribe was Savannah.
Oh,
and so it's
I
like,
see what you're saying.
how is she going to pin that on Savannah because she can't prove that she is a dominant winner or not? So I don't know. Like I think there's a lot of questions like that, but it at the end of the day, like it just to me it all makes sense. Like on every end, like it makes sense why she did what she did. It makes sense why they voted the way they did, and it's just like everything happened how I guess it was supposed to.
And it's poetic how the three people who were potentially going to be voted out first were all three people that we selected in the draft when we drafted players. That just felt appropriate with our record. Whenever we pick, somebody goes real quick, and so that just felt appropriate. I just got lucky that it was one that you picked. But yeah, honestly, first in, like she was the first player, and she's out of here. She's the player that I least cared about probably, and so this is like that felt like best case scenario for at least my viewing experience. Like I'm not upset at all that she's gone. So I'm all for it. And I love so many people on this tribe.
I did have that thought. I was like looking at this tribe because out of the three options, like her, Suri, and Ozzy, obviously, despite my draft pick, like, yeah, like get her out. The only other person I was like, maybe Joe, like I still think Joe is someone I don't like have a huge passion for, but yeah, like everyone else on this tribe, I'm like, I want to see them ride it out. Like let them keep playing.
Yeah. Even with Ozzy, when they were throwing him around, and then with Joe, like you just can't, to me, I understand the idea of getting rid of, like keeping people that are loyal over people that are good in challenges. I feel like especially starting with this many people, the tribe portion of the game is going to be longer, and keeping around people who will be strong in challenges is even more valuable. And so eliminating one of them would have been a wild move to me.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it was the right decision. I really do. I think the last thing on Jenna, I think like I wonder if it would have helped if she waited until the immunity challenge actually happened and then threw out Suri's name. You know, like, could there have been more momentum after seeing Suri being essentially the reason they lost the immunity challenge? Because I think, like, to compare them to, like, Vatu with this, you know, alliance that was formed by, like, Colby, Kyle, Stephanie, and Genevieve, like, there haven't really been names thrown out to us, you know? So, like, it seems like their alliance is being more set up as a, hey, let's work together, and when the time comes, we'll keep each other safe. Whereas Jenna took it as like, hey, I'm trying to build an alliance, and here's who we're targeting. You know, so like maybe she just needed to slow it down just like a tad. Like the alliance part was there, but just maybe not the targeting quite yet. But I don't know. Another season, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Yeah, it's tough because I could see both sides of that where like bringing people together around a specific target. But yeah, that situation, it obviously didn't work. And like I said, I don't know if she was ever going to be able to make that happen.
Yeah.
Like that. And maybe there was a better person to go for in that moment. And maybe it was just Savannah. Like if she was like, she's a winner, let's get rid of the winner. That feels like it would have been the better direction. But I think there's a chance that it was always just going to be Jenna.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Other people on this tribe. I mean, we got Suri and Ozzy, who are number ones. That's exciting.
Combine those two, and I think you have the perfect Survivor player. Like genuinely, like Suri's one of the best social games. He's the like physical competitor and like survival person. And then the strategic piece, that's mostly Suri as well. Ozzy doesn't have much of that, but yeah, he has a couple things. But
he can win
not
challenges.
Yeah, his strategy can be to put himself in challenges, so there's value to that.
Well, there was
But
a
yeah,
reason
that's
that
just a
his
fun
last,
duo.
or not his last season, but South Pacific, where his strategy was literally like, get me out of the game. I just want to compete. And it almost worked.
It was super effective. It was super effective. So I love that duo. I mean, my heart just is always Devins and Christian being a duo. And like you said, they're pals, and that's not a surprising thing. But that just warmed my heart. There was one quote that they said that I wrote down because I just thought it was really funny. Christian said, "Do you notice how awesome you are?" And he said, "I'm constantly noticing that." Like that was Devin's response. Like, I'm constantly noticing how awesome I am. And I was like, "That's so cute. I love these guys."
Yeah, no, they're so fun. I really hope the best for them. Like I do. I like. There's part of me that wonders: are they like just too similar in the sense like, do they need to branch out? Because like even like picking up Emily,
Yeah.
like that's just another brain on their side, you know.
Yeah.
So like I'm not worried for them yet because I even think like if tribal happens again for them, they clearly have numbers with them. So and like even like Joe had a confessional where he was like hyping up Christian and like how you know they're loved by their tribe. So like I don't think they're in danger, but I just think like for future like I'm like, do they need to diversify it a little bit in their allies? And I hope they can like, you know, cross that bridge when it comes.
Yeah, it felt like Devon's might not be everybody's cup of tea. I kind of got that vibe in some of the like confessionals about him where like, oh, he's a lot or like he's something. But yeah, Christian the highest approval rating of any survivor ever, I think, is Christian. I think it just is. I don't know anybody that doesn't like Christian. He's such a delight.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be fun to see them. I feel like the odd person out because I think Joe would even fit into that group. I think Savannah's got an uphill battle. If they lose again, I think there's a very, very good chance that it's just Savannah set packing.
It could be. I will say, like, I think I was impressed with how well she was like able to integrate herself into this tribe. Like the fact that like she wasn't an option brought up yet, I think is good. And that's like that's huge. Because in my mind, I'm like, oh great, her and Rizzo might just be the first people gone. Like they really could be. So I think like up until now, she's doing the best she can. I think Devin's sussing her out about not getting an advantage when she did in fact get a vote blocker. That's tough. But I don't know. I like, what I don't like, how do you do that, you know?
I think she said something like, "This is one of the best groups in the world at telling if you're lying." Like these people are built to identify whether or not you're telling them the truth. That's a tall order to like figure that out. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think she did do her best, but it's just so tough, and I don't think her skill was ever like socially connecting like with a large group. You know what I mean? Like she had her tight knit group, and I'm not saying that she like can't do that at all. She's not like terrible. But I don't know if that's like the strong part of her game, and so I think it's tough for her. Even Rizzo feels like he annoys people at first, and then he gets endearing. I don't know if I think she's less so than even him.
Well, I almost was hoping for because like there was a moment where she seemed like fully on board with Jenna, like okay, we're gonna vote together, and I was actually there was a small part of me that was hoping that she would be left out of the vote
Hmm.
and perhaps vote for Suri, and then almost do the same thing that happened to her on her season, where once they merged, her, Rizzo, and Sophie were in the minority on the vote, and then just turn that
Hmm.
around, Because like you're right, she didn't really have like alliances. She had those three, there's the three of them, and she pretty much got through by Rizzo's fake idol and immunity wins, which again is a great way
Hmm.
to win the game. No,
Yeah.
no shade to that, but like the social connecting isn't the strength. So I wonder if she's going to be able to turn that on when she needs to.
And the question is, does she know that she needs to?
Mm-hmm.
Because she played 2 weeks ago, she hasn't had the hindsight to realize, oh, that was the weakness in my game. And maybe that's part of like being a winner in general is like you don't really know what the weakness of your game is because you were like you did well and you won. But I think that's the question just going right back out. Like, does she know that she needs to hopefully we think that she needs to improve on that. We're not the experts necessarily, but yeah, that's the piece that I'm curious to see if she figures it out.
Well, she did have I had to look up her name. Christina called her out that she couldn't name family members of the jury.
Oh, true, true. I
So
did forget about that.
so like
That was a
maybe
fun
there was a
moment. So
lesson there.
maybe
Like maybe
maybe
that was
she
enough to be
she goes
like,
to everybody.
okay,
What's the name of your family member? All right,
right.
I'll remember that. Like she's just like taking notes of everybody. She did research
Yeah.
before the season to memorize a family member of each player.
Yeah. Maybe. Anyone else on this tribe worth discussing? I think like
Ozzy didn't use his extra vote, right?
he did not know. So he still has an extra vote and now has an idol,
Yep.
which could go back to Genevieve if he gets voted out with the idol.
I know we were like nervous about the boomerang idol. I like it. I don't know if this is the time to talk about it. I think I'm in. I think it's a cool thing to be like, I have to send this idol to somebody that I think will be dumb enough not to play it so that I can get it back. And hopefully that'll happen soon. Like, I think that's fun. I'm having fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it's good too. I did find it funny. I saw someone make the comment that Genevieve got just so screwed this episode because, spoiler alert, her ally gets evacuated, medical
Hmm.
evacuated, right?
We'll go there
Two
next.
of two of her, well, this could be a good transition then. Two of her
Oh,
allies,
let's go.
Colby and Q, both lost a vote, and she was the only one to find an advantage, and she didn't get to keep it.
That is that's tough on paper.
Uh
I
huh.
feel very good about her position
Oh,
overall.
absolutely. Yeah.
That looks pretty bad on paper.
Yeah.
It
It
certainly
does.
does.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I thought the boomerang idol, it's a good twist. I'm wondering, like, do you think she played it the best? Like, is Ozzy the best person to give it to? Because it seemed like her logic was he's done this before. Maybe he'll do it again.
So when did she get it? Did she get it prior to that first tribal? She did, right? No, he got it after.
Uh, he got it after.
Okay, cool. So what if she gave it to like, I wonder if she gave it to Jenna, but didn't know Jenna had been voted out. I wonder what would have happened there. It doesn't matter. It didn't happen. But like, I don't think he wouldn't be the pick just if you won it soon, I think is my only concern with it. I think Ozzy's pretty, I don't know, because he's so ready to play an idol. I feel like if he doesn't win immunity, it's tough. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. I almost think like in my mind you can't play it in that way. Like you can't play it hoping you get it back. You almost need to use this as a I'm going to give an
Hmm.
ally an idol. That's how I would
Yeah.
view it because that's just like again we did have a season recently where like what 4 or 5 people went home with idols in their pockets, but like that's usually not the norm. And I think after that happened, like people are just going to play him now. So I think using it to secure an ally is a safer strategy to me.
It would have been funny to give it to Tiffany because she was one of the people that didn't play an idol last time. Like, oh, she's done it before. Like, might as well see if she
That
does it
would have been
again.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ozzy would be like one of the top options for me, but I can see that like other direction being the wiser way to go for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. But no, I mean talk about Genevieve's positioning. I think she is it bad to say like I think she might be the best positioned in her tribe right now? Or as far as like I have the most hope for her? She
I think that's fair other than the potential that like something goes wrong in the next vote because there's two lost votes and she just is like the one that they go for hoping that no one will expect it. Like that she feels like the only way that she goes is if it's like a collateral damage, like you were just a safe vote that they wouldn't expect and we were nervous about an idol or something like that. But
sure.
I think she's also like one of the coming in with one of the better like threat levels. Like I think people like recognize she's a good player, so they want to play with her. But nobody's like she's not top half in people that you're scared of. I think
Mhm.
right now.
No,
So
it's a
yeah,
good
I
point.
think her tribe comfortably. I think she's in the best spot just because she's not going to be that person you go for. She is the new era, but she's linked up with the older era. I think just everything is super great. But Kyle going hurts. It does.
It does hurt. I wonder if that does help her a little bit more though with like Colby and Stephanie because it seems like
Mm,
those two are pretty tight. Like I have the feeling
yeah.
Colby and Stephanie are just going to be a duo, okay?
Hmm.
And I think now with Kyle leaving cuz Colby and Kyle really connected. I think Kyle has that kind of like I mean, talk about like so like I mean just to say it now, like if Kyle didn't leave, I think he could have gone far. Like, holy moly, this guy is a social player. Like, I
Hook, line, and
forgot.
sinker got everybody. I don't think
Uh
we
huh.
saw it like that his first time around. Like it shocked me how everybody was like, "This guy's just the best," and it's like that's a winner. Like think about it. But yeah, he was comfortably in the best position of winners, comfortably.
Right. So, like, I think if you look at that alliance, like, would Genevieve, if you need to cut someone, would she be? I think they would cut
Yeah.
her above Kyle. So now that Kyle's gone, does her position go up a little bit? Because assuming like Q was kind of
Hmm.
working with them, so like is he brought in? But I think her position. So like I don't know. In some ways, I think this helps her relationships with other alliance members, but it
Hmm.
is a bummer because her and Kyle were genuinely like close as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like pull her in because okay, we just lost one of our numbers. Let's make sure we have her secure and pull her in closer. That feels like a potential, and we've said a million times, or I've said a million times, like one of the best things that can happen is your closest ally goes because now you're less threatening. Um, Now I could be proved wrong next episode, and she could go, but I like her positioning for sure. And on the topic of Kyle, like I think that if somebody had to go early due to a medical evac, it being a winner I feel okay about that. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm not happy that Kyle's gone, and there's a lot of people I would have rather go, but like he already won, so it's not like he's losing out on that second chance that most people haven't gotten yet.
Mhm.
Um, and so like that makes me feel a little bit better about that situation, I think, but still super bummed
Yeah.
because he was fun to watch.
No, I completely agree. And I think like preseason he would have been one of the names where I'm like, I don't know if I need to see him play again so soon, just because
Hmm.
like he did play such a dominant game nearly to perfection. Um but I think like this episode won me over. Like literally up
Hmm.
until that moment I was like, "Oh man, like I think I'm in on Kyle. Like this is very
Hmm.
fun." Like he's playing his game, but almost like a expedited version of it, like just
Hmm.
jumping to it immediately, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. You know, and I love even like him teaming up with Genevieve, where he's like, Genevieve's a scary player, but guess what? I played with a scary player named Camilla, and I like that. Like, I need someone like that. So I'm like, this is great, you know. So yeah, it is a bummer. Did you see the details of the challenge of like what they didn't show
No.
before? So he was the last one up the wall, right? And that's when he got injured. Apparently, Colby was actually the last one and couldn't get up. So Kyle jumped back down to help Colby up, and then Kyle was the last one up then. So he like technically like shouldn't even have been in that position, which is
That's
even
tough.
more unfortunate. So like again, I
And
mean, I'm not Colby's fault, but like it's just the most unfortunate way to go where it's like you're volunteering like, here, I'll help you and I'll be the one to go last because you're struggling here. I'm like, dang, that makes it that much worse.
And I saw somebody say like this was inevitable and irresponsible by Survivor to do that because like the warped wall in American Ninja Warrior, that sort of thing where you have to like run up a wall, that it notoriously claims Achilles tendons. Like that just
Mm-hmm.
it's built to do that almost. And so them having that isn't they shouldn't do that basically. Um but yeah,
Yeah.
that's tough. It's tough to watch.
Yeah. Other people on this tribe, I mean, we kind of talked about like the main storyline, I think, was that alliance forming Colby, Stephanie. I mean, any thoughts on them? I think I was pretty impressed. You know, I don't like Stephanie's interesting because I don't think she has like a major threat level. So I think
Mhm.
she's just like doing what she needs to, you know, like which is like as long as she's calm and cool, like she'll probably be in a decent position compared to like these other people who have higher threat levels. Colby though, I think I was impressed, you know, because like I just didn't know what to expect because he only had was it yeah just one season like with idols, right? Like so I mean
Mhm.
he just comes from a completely different era of Survivor, and the fact that he seemed to adapt pretty well as far as like, hey, here's the numbers, like even the way he's talking, you know, like I think I was worried that he might have just shown up and been like this, like, oh, I'm an honorable player and like we'll
Mhm.
we'll, we'll figure it out when we get there. Let's just work on this, you know. But like he was actually strategic, so I was very pleasantly surprised with them as a duo.
Yeah, when it comes to Stephanie, I think just even in the exercise of thinking of like the top 50 players all time and reviewing like wow, she did really well both seasons. One of them like a tribe got demolished and she was literally the last one standing. And that like that's impressive. And she didn't last super long into that, but that they just kind of picked off everybody. Tom and Ian did. But then yeah, the second season in Guatemala, like making it to that final two, like I don't know, she's a very impressive player. And so I was very excited to see her again. And then with Colby, I was also thoroughly impressed. Like it felt like in Heroes versus Villains, he was a shell of like younger Colby. Like he just didn't
Yeah,
have physical peace all anymore. He's one of my favorite sort of moments when he his brother during the family visit challenge. It's so good. But this it feels like he's fully embraced old, like grumpy old man vibe entirely. And he's not that old. He's 51, so it's not like the oldest in the world, but like he just gives that off so strongly, but in like a fun way. And yeah, he seemed to be able to adapt. I think watching him like hate Rizzo at first, it felt like, and then kind of like like have an endearing moment with him where it's like, oh, you're like my dad, and he's like, oh, I kind of like this kid actually. Like seeing him figure that out as he goes is so fun. And it's one of those things like with Kyle and now with Colby, there's a part of me that's like, oh, are they just showing us the good stuff so that we fall in love with these people? Like, I don't know. I'm nervous that the edit's fooling me a little bit with some of that. But yeah, I think it's I was not excited to see Colby again. And now I'm very interested to see how long he can last with the people that are around him and losing somebody who was part of that four right away.
right. No, I completely agree. Yeah, I really like the relationship with him and Rizzo. I'm very
Hmm.
fascinated to see like where that goes. I'm just
Yeah.
like a Colby Rizzo duo. Could you imagine like who would have thought, you know? I'm like the second But like, here's the thing: the second that Rizzo tries to do one of his like little theatrical tribal council moments, like if he has a fake idol or something, like Colby's gonna be so out. Like he's not gonna.
His disappointed survivor father. What are you doing?
Right. It's like, come on, son, sit down.
What are you doing?
Yeah, but I think like it's another one of those moments where it's like preseason. I would have been like, oh, do we need to see this again? But I'm like, I think I get it. Like, I think I'm falling for this presentation that they're giving us of like, look at all these eras of Survivor, and like where they had this moment where it's like, oh, Colby, weren't you about like Rizzo's age when you first played? And he's like, yeah, I think, it's like, oh, this is so nice. Like, I like this. I just like, and these are I mean, every returning season I remember like when Winners at War, same thing, where it's like, I could just have hours of just camp life of them, like seeing this crossover, like players that we have spent hours dissecting and analyzing, and like the crossover of these different generations of Survivor players. Like it's just the best. And so I think like Colby and Rizzo are definitely like the best version of like what this could be.
Yeah, is that the oldest? No, Mike's older than Colby, and so is Chrissy.
Mike, Chrissy, and Sri.
And Suri.
Are all
wow,
50,
they're all 54. 54 squad. Maybe Coach will have a birthday and he can join.
The weirdest thing to me, okay, like Jenna, she's 47, okay, like not that old, right? Maybe for like modern Survivor.
Yeah.
And then you have Joe, who's 45, which just throws me off, the fact that he played like a year ago and then she played 20 years. You know what I mean? It's like, holy, like, that's just crazy. I don't like, it's such a dumb observation, but like, it kind of blew my mind where I'm like, oh, she's only 8 years older than like Christian. Like you think of her as
I was
like
surprised
this...
to see her younger than Suri. When we were talking about them, I was like, oh, she's younger than Suri. Like that's surprising to me.
Very young when she first played.
Yeah. Literally grew up with the show, it feels like.
So
on Vatu, another one, Angelina I might be in on this time around.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
Let's just shut up.
I'm serious.
Okay, that felt like a sarcastic.
Because no. My perception is she was the one where I feel like we didn't get any time with her. So like I want to hear what you saw.
We didn't get a ton of time, but what we did, it did feel, and it was her saying that she's like a mom now and she's more mature. It felt like she was more mature and grown up in the moments that we saw her. Whereas she was kind of like an odd character, like kind of, I don't know, the asking Natalie for a jacket, like, I don't know, all of that just paints a certain picture. And it felt like there was a level of maturity that I haven't seen on her in the past. And so that got me a little excited. Like I want to see what her game is going to look like based on that, which she might go next. But I was very interested when I saw that.
No, I'm in. I mean, like I love her. I have nothing negative from this episode on her other than I was a little bummed to see her not included in as many conversations, right? Because it felt like she is just not on the in this tribe, which like could be fine. Like, in my opinion, there's a very obvious person who will be the first vote. But I'm like, if we can get her to like a tribe swap or something, like I want, like, if we get robbed of her and Mike White linking up again, I'm gonna be so disappointed because that is the duo I want, and I know they want it too. I know they're pals. I know they get along. So like, please, Survivor Gods, like, let that happen. Let her stay long enough so she can hang out with Mike White again. That's all I want.
At least get him to emerge, please. Just let us see it for an episode, even.
Just have everyone merge. Like, let's just merge right now. Why not?
That would be wild. But I think it would just breed like the massive alliances that we hate.
True.
Q, I think I'm interested as well. I just can't read Q at all. Like, just based on his last game to now, like, he seems like he knows what he's doing. He seems like he's making solid decisions, but I just don't know if I can trust that perception of him at all.
He played it very cool. Like, he did.
Yeah.
He played a very chill version of himself, which I don't think is going to last, but I think it's what he needed to do. And so I respect that, because I think like the obvious example is Game Changers when Tony just came out running in the woods for an idol, and I think his mindset was like, people know my game. Let's just have fun with it. And it just like did not work. So I think like a lot of people have learned from that moment specifically of like, okay, people know who I am. I need to shift it just a little bit, or like wait to let that come out. And so I have a feeling that might be like what he's doing, because I mean, if you remember his season, it
Yeah.
took a while till we even understood, like he wasn't that chaotic from the start.
I don't think I ever fully understood. I will say that. Like, he was just such a confused. He'd be like, "Yeah, I actually want
Fair.
to be
Yep.
done. Please vote me out." And it's like, is he serious? Like, what is happening right now? And I still
Yeah.
don't know if he was serious in those moments.
No, we'll never know.
Do you think anybody's ever gonna come on a second season intentionally get themselves voted out early to lower their threat level so second winners at war they can win? Basically, do the Tony template.
Yeah. I would say no, only because
That's
like
probably correct.
I
I'd
mean,
like
like
it.
your
Probably
chances, like a lot, like so many people play to try to be memorable to get asked back, right? Like that's the thing. So it's like
Yeah.
getting voted out early is almost like that doesn't help anything. It really
No.
doesn't, unless it's a winners at war season where your options are limited. They picked
Mhm.
20 of the winners out of the, how many were there at the time? 30 something. So like your odds were good that you were
38.
going to be asked. Well, it'd be a little
Mhm.
less or no, it would be 30. It'd be 37,
38,
right?
because Sandra was the only overlap, and there were 39
Oh, correct.
seasons
Yes,
before
yes,
it.
yes. Silly me. Okay, there you go.
You goof. You
Good
goofball.
work.
But then the obvious target on this tribe, I think we're talking about the same person, right?
Yes.
Aubrey felt like
Yes.
she wasn't it. She didn't, and maybe that was just like they're setting up for her to like have this awesome comeback. It did not feel like, who was was her conversation with Genevieve?
Sure was. Yep.
That was not a good look
It
for
was
winning someone over.
so bizarre. And I
Yeah.
I wonder, like, was she, cuz here's my only thought, cuz basically what happened, they're having a conversation and they're like, "So, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?" Cuz like obviously similar archetypes in a way, similar game
Hmm.
styles. And Genevieve pretty much said like, or no, Aubrey. Sorry, I'm mixing this up. Aubrey said like, what is your perception of me? Which is like a very odd question. And Genevieve, I thought was pretty upfront. She's like, well, I think you're dangerous, but like I like to work with dangerous, and I think we could do some damage. And then Aubrey's like, yeah, I think we're just gonna have to see how it goes, or something like that. Like she
Yeah.
did not accept that. She pretty much admitted like, I think we're gonna have to like bubble. And then in her confessional, she's like, I'm gonna have to cut her before she cuts me. I was like, yeah, you just told her that. Like you just told her that you're gonna, like you're not hiding. I'm so confused on what Aubrey's doing, because it almost seems like she doesn't even want to be there. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, I haven't seen her seasons in so long. Like, I'd almost have to go back and watch them. I remember always like enjoying her and being impressed by her as a player, but that just felt like, what are you going for? And like, it's so tough because that's all we saw, I feel like, of her the entire episode was that little moment. And I just don't like, I don't know if that's indicative of what's actually happening and everything, but that's not a good moment. Like, whenever you're caught and you feel you're just basically telling somebody, like, you gotta lie to their face. You just, like, that's, I don't know, to me that's the game. You gotta lie to their face and be like, yeah, I'd love to work together too, that would be awesome, because then they might pull you into something, and like, you just being like, yeah, we'll see. I don't know, that just feels so foolish to me. And she feels
Hmm.
like a better player to me than somebody who would just be like, we'll see.
Yeah, completely agree. My only hunch is like the last season she was on, Edge of Extinction, she got very burned by, there was, I can't remember what the line was, but like the editors even like kind of did her dirty, where it was something like, I want to keep this dialogue open. It was like a very specific line.
Mm,
And there was this one episode where they edited all the time she said, and pretty much everyone on her tribe, she said the same line, like, I just want to make sure we have an open dialogue, like, can we have an open dialogue, blah blah blah. And then like they all checked back with their notes and were like, has she been like saying this to you? And so I think she got very burned because she got blindsided pretty bad on that season. Like she
mhm.
was bitter, she was not happy. She thought she had an alliance. And so like I do wonder, is her coming to this season, is she just worried? Like does she just not want to talk to players? Like is she like, I'm just going to own this, and because last time I tried to do this, like it just went horribly? Like that's my
Mhm.
only hunch because it just doesn't feel like she's doing what she normally does.
I think that's always one of the most fascinating things with these players is seeing how much their mistakes in past seasons can affect them. I think one of the biggest examples is Stephen Fishback being obsessed with getting rid of Joe because he didn't want to lose to the Golden Boy again. Like seeing how much them ruminating on that mistake can affect them. And I don't know that they like intentionally show us that because that's kind of a like intense thing for that person. And so maybe it's like a little too personal or they don't have time for it. But it'd be interesting to hear her talk about that and hear like that if that's where it's coming from. Because yeah, that I've played Survivor on such a smaller scale than them with just like a bunch of people out in the
Oh, you
woods.
think? You think that was a smaller
But
scale?
no, I'm recognizing it was. So frick you. And still, like there will be days where it's like, man, I should have had this conversation, or I should have said this, or I should have gone this direction. And it doesn't matter. I lost out on maybe like $50. I think that's probably what I paid to play. And so like it's not the end of the world, but for them it's like $1 million that they could have thrown away in one mistake. And so I can't imagine how much that haunts them.
Mm-hmm. Well, even on that, backtracking a little bit, but I forgot to point this out earlier. Joe even said a very similar thing with like his season where he called out Suri and Ozzy as like, hey, I lost to a duo, when I when I made Final Tribal. And so like I think that is such a thing as like these players coming back, recognizing where they failed at their previous season and now like taking this onto this season. So I'm curious to
And then
see
to
like
mention that Joe said that they gave him a wedgie on national television. Isn't that like what he said, like the verbiage that he used?
he did say that,
Do you
yes.
think that do you think he feels some type of way? Like, do you think if he ends up with Camilla, he'll actually target her? Or do you think that's just him recognizing like, hey, I thought I did well and they played circles around me? Like, I couldn't tell if it was
Yeah.
a vindictive comment or just like I was embarrassed and like, that's how it
Yeah.
happens. But the game's the game, you know?
That's a great question. I don't know if I thought of it in that way, and I'm not sure because I think like it could go either way. I think it was this acknowledge because like I mean like he's not wrong, right? Like it was pretty much like, oh, surprise, you thought you were in control, it was actually me the whole time, and then Camilla's on the jury to like confirm the whole thing. So
Hmm.
I think it's possible. Now I will say like if this is one of those seasons where like Joe gets to the end by knocking out Camilla early, I'm like this is gonna be that's gonna be tough for me. I'm not gonna love that, but
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see it happening.
Unless he cooks, then I'll live with it. Um, yeah, should we get to Kyle though?
Let's do it. Speaking of Camilla,
Our transition, yeah, to Camilla, of course.
the
We
star
didn't,
of the tribe.
of course, everybody knows that. I don't think I realized how little we saw of this tribe until this moment.
Yeah, this tribe was, in my opinion, a lot of good vibes. They were having
Hmm.
fun. We saw some alliances form, maybe more just like allies. And I really think, like, to me, like, Coach is like the biggest storyline, but that even overlaps with like Ozzy, because I think like that's definitely going to be
Yeah,
something there. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think with Coach's game, it's kind of funny because within the first like 10 minutes I was like, oh, has he like grown, like has he matured, like like is this going to be like a new version of him? And then almost immediately I'm like, no, he's
nope, same old, same old.
it's just like him and Ozzy having like, and the preview for next week, it looks like this picks up. It could be a season long feud over the semantics of what was the honorable thing to do in a challenge, which
Yeah,
why are we still trying to bring honor to a game like Survivor? Like I do not understand why these people think that this is the way to go. Like did Coach technically make a promise to Ozzy he wouldn't steal the key? No, I don't think so. Would it have been like the nice thing to do? Maybe. Is he wrong for taking it? No. Like why like the fact that it bothers him so much is just I love it. I love it so much.
yeah, and looking at what happened because this is, I think, a big piece of it. And I will say, first of all, my dream scenario, excuse me, sorry, is like this. this feud lasts for a good chunk of the pre-merge and is like a big story in the pre-merge. And then just to like keep the pre-merge entertaining, which maybe isn't an issue because we know all of these people, but like I would love to see this battle. I don't want it the whole season again. You know what I mean? Like I would love to like entertain us for the first 5 weeks and then be done with it. Um, but looking at what happened, Ozzy said, "Hey, if you knock it down, I won't take it from you." That was not an agreement from the rest of the group from what they showed us. Ozzy's for sure bitter about something that is not fair to be bitter about. But that's the game, coach. Like you got to know that he's going to be upset about that and he's going to use that. And when honor is your thing, you have to stand by it. You can't pick and choose when you're going to be honorable if honor is your thing. Even though I don't think it's unhonorable. I think that's the design of the game. That's why there was one key. But
Yeah.
if you're going to preach, then you got to practice it. Like that's just what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just such a dumb situation that, again,
It's
is
still
like,
good though.
of course, you're the one that's going to get hung up on this. And bravo for the Survivor producers for like, I'm sure they're like, oh, I really hope Coach and Ozzy get out here. And sure enough, they did. Yeah, I love that though. I love that so much. Other than that, I think the other bigger storyline, I think, is the target that Dee apparently has. I think
Yeah.
both Chrissy and Jonathan brought her up at separate points. And so the interesting thing is it doesn't feel like there is a major majority forming. I think the only like real grouping we saw was the three girls, Tiffany, Camilla, and Dee. Like they kind of grouped together as like, hey, we're newer era, we play kind of similar, like let's keep each other safe, you know. But there's a lot of question marks on the majority of this tribe. You know, like in my mind, it seemed like Chrissy didn't really get her footing. Like it seemed like she was kind of on the outs a little bit. It seemed like did Charlie have many game conversations? You know, like he did with Mike White, but
Okay,
that was
that's what it
kind
was.
of
Like I
it.
remember him linking up with someone, but I couldn't remember who it was. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but like for the most, I don't know. It just seems like the other tribes are more solidified, and maybe it's just because that's the way the episode was because we knew that both of those tribes were going to be losing members. But
Yeah.
this is the tribe I'm
You have
like,
24 or 16 other people to look at that actually matter for the episode and what's happening.
yeah, but this is the tribe I'm like, let's get them to tribal so I can see like where lines actually are.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think I don't know, Chrissy. I don't know. Chrissy is one that stands out to me. I kind of had the same vibe with Chrissy that I did with Aubrey, where I was like, "Oh, I don't know if she's like, I don't know." She felt like a fish out of water to me a little bit, and
Yeah.
so I'm curious if she's gonna find a footing or not. And so that was like a surprise because I'm excited to see Chrissy again. But then thinking back to her game, I don't know that for her, like the social strategic piece was like her forte because they just kind of galvanized around getting Ben out. Like that felt like that was such a big piece of it, and it's been a while since I've seen that season, so I might be missing a big piece of it. But yeah, D. I think D was the just the easy pick to get rid of, and I love D. You know that, so I'm very curious to see how that transpires because I could see people wanting to keep her around for a little bit. But I could also see her just being like the easy vote because I don't know who else would be except maybe they just get rid of coach. Like no one else seemed like a clear option for a target other than her. Whereas each other tribe I feel like has a couple people where I could see them alienating that person and getting rid of that person.
Well, it's almost like you got like players that are almost on the same level as far as like, let's say you did want to target like you want to keep D, but you want to get rid of like a new era strategist, right? It's like, well, then it's like Camilla or
Mm-hmm.
Charlie, like take your pick, you know. That at that point, it's just like you might just have allies voting against, you know, like different voting blocks, and so I don't know. It's just like bizarre because this was the one where it's like there wasn't a large enough alliance to suss out like where the numbers going to go. Like where's Jonathan at? You know, like I can't imagine
Mm-hmm.
he's going to team up with the strategic girls, but like, does he team up with Mike White and Charlie? You know, like, where's Coach actually right now? Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like in my mind, I'm like, it would make sense to me for Mike and Charlie to team up with the three girls.
I'd love that group.
Maybe vote out Chrissy, and then you still got Strength, right? And Coach and Jonathan.
Hmm?
I don't know. Like, Jonathan, to me, doesn't... I know he wants to get out deep, but, like, is he as concerned right now with forming alliances? Maybe not. So, like, that could be someone that's fine to keep in. So, I don't know. A lot of questions.
I think that's this tribe is just a lot of questions on where things stand. I do think the I mentioned earlier the Mike White confronting Coach in front of everyone. Wild moved in front of everyone. Great TV. That is like the best case scenario of what these journeys will bring. I think is that like the immediate they're like, hey, what information did you get for this? Oh, okay, cool. I'll pass that on. Like I'll bring that up. And it felt like yeah, it was just for entertainment, and that was great. But that's like what we want to see. I think is people being confronted like that, or something that they did. And like I said, I don't even think Coach was in the wrong, but it's all the narrative. It's how it's communicated, and Mike kind of did him dirty there. Also, Mike White having like a 6-pack was not on my bingo card. That was shocking.
Dude, that guy's
Not
just having
like
a good
it
time.
makes. Yeah, he's just doing White Lotus and apparently doing ab workouts. Like that's what his life is currently.
Is there, like... I mean, he's got to have one of the better lives. Like, if you could, like, like... Because he's not, like, a celebrity.
Mhm.
You know? Like,
Hmm.
do people know the name? I'm sure most people that even watch White Lotus don't necessarily know the face behind it. You know, I think like there's a very specific crossover of like Survivor fan and also person that like has an HBO subscription that
Yeah.
recognizes him, and he just gets to do it all. You know, like he gets to make one of the most popular shows, he gets to win Emmys, and then he's also one of the first calls back on Survivor. And even like before this, he's given Jeff Probst tips on how to make the show better. And
He's basically like a producer on the show. Like that's dream scenario. I would want to be in an alliance with him just so that I would be able to be an extra. And I don't even watch White Lotus. I watched the first season or two. Haven't watched it since. But I'd want to be on the show.
yeah, no, I mean it's solid. And we've already seen two people on this cast. Christian and Angelina were both in it, so
Yeah, true. And they were all on the season with him before, so it'll be easy. Like you just we're gonna see a ton of these people in a few seasons.
yeah, that is gonna be fun. Anything else on this tribe or anything overall? I feel like we did a pretty good job trying to fit
It
it
was
in.
long, but I feel like
there's
it
a
hit
lot of
just about
players.
everything. Yeah, there's a lot, and I feel like there's people we didn't even really get into. We kind of said for Vatu that we thought Genevieve was probably in the best position on that tribe, and Aubrey was the worst. What for the other two tribes? Who would you say best position and worst position if you had to give it to one player for each? Start with Kalo since we're there, anyways.
Oh, best position is so tough. I would almost say Mike White. Not so much with just like the alliance making, but just if like when would he be voted out? Like what reason would there be? You know, he's not a threat in the way that like a Jonathan is. He's not strategic threat like the way Charlie or Camilla is. So like he might be in the best position.
I would say him or Tiffany, honestly, would be my thought. Because Tiffany, I think, just comes in with, I think she's comfortably the lowest threat level of the entire cast, almost. Where, like, she has these connections and she knows these people, but she also, like, she's not, like, known as a strategic mastermind or a social, like, an extremely social person or comp beast. Like, she doesn't have a tag that's, like, she's a problem. And so I think she's the only other one. But I don't know that she's done anything other than that trio to be in that conversation.
Here's a question. Did we see her and Charlie interact at all? Because they were on the same season. And she did not vote for him to win. Did they have any interaction?
I don't think so. And I'm sure he's not like bitter about it. She was always going to vote for Kenzie. Like I think he probably knew that going in.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't think we saw. I think they're probably saving that interaction for when we dive into this tribe more, would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm now just realizing, I'm like, oh, that's like bizarre, you know? That's like almost the equivalent of like Camilla Joe, if they were on the same
Mhm.
tribe. I feel, so I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so interesting. Like, do they have any relationship? Like, are they bitter towards each other? Do they
Mhm.
share a bond? Like, would they work together? Like, I'm shocked that none of that was brought up. Huh. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Coach
I
Ozzy,
think
a more interesting previous connection than Tiffany Charlie.
yes. I think worse on this tribe. I mean, I'll probably say Chrissy, just because it feels like
Mhm.
it just feels like she's playing like a little too fast, and like maybe that works in the same way that worked against Jenna. And I just think like the connections, like what is her connection? I saw, we saw her try to do something with Coach, but it just didn't seem to stick. So like, I think just by that alone, she might be a good default.
Yeah, I think either her or you could say D just because she clearly has the biggest target as a winner. Honestly, I don't know that anybody's going to actually want to work with Coach. So that's one that I have my eye on. Like I could see them just being like, I don't want to work with this guy. And Mike just airing it out there. Like I feel like that didn't help either. But Chrissy's probably the number one pick for me too.
And then for Sela, I mean, I think it's Christian.
Yep.
Best position. Worse is
Yeah.
tough. I like probably Savannah by default. Like I don't think she's like in a bad
Yeah.
position in comparison to like the rest of like the entire season, but like her tribe, like she just doesn't have that ally like everyone else has at this point.
I think it's probably her. Sari, maybe. I would throw her in. Just in that, like, there were a couple people that were very willing to write her name down. And now she's still clearly like a massive target, somebody to be nervous about. And so that would be my only thought with her.
Sure. No, I could see that. All right. There we go. That's Survivor 50,
We gotta
episode 1.
we gotta draft one other person. Both of us do.
Oh, I don't want to. I'm quitting.
No? Okay. I will though.
All right. Can you remind us who we have? Do you have the thing pulled up?
So yeah, I have it's just in the chat here. I have Devins, Sari, Camilla, and Genevieve. You have Chrissy, Ozzy, Christian, and Jenna.
Dude, my team
And if I remember
sucks.
correctly, you didn't like your answers, but you were like, I'm going against the grain here. Like actively were like, I hate my picks, but this is who I'm picking.
It's true. It's true. And now I'm saying Chrissy's going to be the first voted off. Like, what is happening?
You hate to see it.
I do. Well, I think I should go first, right? Since
Yeah, that's
yeah, is that fair? I think that's fair. Wait, remind me who you have. You have Sari,
Sari,
Devins.
Camilla, Genevieve, Devins.
Okay, I'm going Mike White. I'm doing it. I think.
That, that felt like a very comfortable pick right there. That was like he's the obvious pick. Just because I don't think there's a chance he doesn't go deep. I don't know that he wins, but I think there's a really good chance he goes deep.
Yeah, exactly.
So the people that I'm thinking between right now,
Yeah,
since I can talk it out, since I'm the last pick, I'm
you can
thinking
talk it out.
Stephanie or Charlie is where I'm at.
Interesting.
Stephanie or Charlie.
Pretty different players.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I want Charlie. I think I want Charlie.
All right. Who you also think is a top 50 Survivor player?
Do. Who did you said Mike White?
I said Mike White. Of course I did. I mean, this
Okay.
let's just be honest. Like, unless one of yours, like, you're gonna win this. We've never had. Well,
Yeah.
here's the problem. We always wait like 2 weeks until we.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we always wait a few weeks because we always don't know the people until 3 weeks in.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Like, this is. I would not have picked any.
I'll
of
let
these
you
players.
replace. I'll let you replace Jenna, but I get 3 vetoes.
3 vetoes.
Yep. So
Oh,
it can't
easy.
be like your top. It can't be like a.
Wait, are you serious? I'll take that right now. Do you want to do that?
That offer if one of my people goes next, I also get to do it.
Deal.
All right.
All right. My first pick, I'm going to go with Stephanie.
I like that. I like that.
You
I kind of
vetoing
just
it
want
or
to
is
let
it?
you have it. I kind of just
Well,
want to let you have it.
I was kind of saying it hoping you'd veto, but if you let me have
I know. That's kind of why I don't. I was trying to bait you.
fine, I'll take
Veto it.
Stephanie.
I'll let you pick somebody else.
All right.
No, I'll veto it.
You're going to veto it?
Yep.
Then give me Colby.
Yeah, you can keep them.
Great. So now I got Colby, Mike White, Ozzy, and Christian. And Chrissy. Oh, Chrissy stinks, dude. I'm still going to lose. All right.
Here's the thing. There's a part of me that's people who didn't get a ton of airtime now. It might be because they're going to be important at the back end. I feel like that always happens with a couple players.
That's true.
Not
Like
always.
Chrissy.
It often happens with a player where it's like we don't get much the first episode. So I believe in you.
Thanks. I appreciate it. All right.
You're welcome.
Well, there you go. That's Survivor 50, episode 1. Can't wait for episode 2. Looking forward to it. For more episodes, you know where to find us. We are on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube at NGAP Pod. That's at NGAP Pod. I'm Nathan. This is Tony, and we will see you next week.
I think 18 seasons, 2 pals, 1 podcast.